The GungHo Guns, Ganganzu, are a group of assassins assembled to cause great pain to Vash the Stampede. Each one is human, but has sacrificed their humanity in order to gain power, often leaving them mutilated. Each GungHo gun has an assigned number, but not all numbers are revealed. In the manga, Legato uses them to play a game with Vash. He has them each carry half a coin, and gives Vash a case that contains the other half of every coin. He explains that, if Vash can reassemble the coins, 12 in all, something interesting will happen. It turns out that the filled case can block Legato's powers during their later fight. Monev the Gale. Monev the Gale was hired as an assassin to fight Vash. Knives locks him in a cell to train his body for 20 years, in order to gain the skill and power required to kill Vash. He wears a powered battlesuit and carries 2 high-powered gatling guns on his arms. These guns fire extremely fast due to the pressure chambers, located on his back, and have tremendous stopping power, enough to tear through entire buildings. He also carries a wide variety of weapons in a big cloth rucksack, including an enormous minigun, powerful enough to punch through a bank vault. He is defeated by Vash, and killed afterward as punishment. His life is spared in the anime, but he is later killed by for instance Mine along with Dominique, see below, due to his failure. Dominique the Cyclops. Dominique the Cyclops has an ability known as the Demon's Eye, which causes hypnosis and sensory paralysis in her foes, momentarily stunning them, and making her movements appear immediate. This effect happens when she lifts her eye patch, which reveals a reptilian eye in the manga and a red eye in the anime. Vash defeats her by placing pressure on a wound, allowing him to avoid focusing on her eye. She is killed after failing in the anime, and she commits suicide in the manga to avoid being punished. For instance Line is a violent man who wears a suit that resembles a sphere, and contains control threads for deploying lethal spikes. Further manipulating these threads, Mine can hurl them towards an enemy. He is quickly defeated in the manga, and he is killed by Rady after Vash defeats him in the anime. Rady the Blade. Rady is a samurai who seeks the knowledge learned only when facing death. He carries a sword with a built-in gun that can be fired from the hilt, but not meant for shooting. Instead, when he fires the gun in the middle of his swing, it allows him to swing his sword with enough force to create a sonic blast. In the anime, he expresses anger in the fact that Vash is refusing to make his mark true and aim to kill, claiming he wants a real battle. He escapes after Vash's angel arm is forced to activate, though Wolfwood soon kills him. In the manga, he wears roller skates that allow him to move at phenomenal speeds. After Vash defeats him, Rady attempts to attack Vash from behind, but is quickly killed by Wolfwood. Leonov the Puppet Master. Leonov the Puppet Master is an elderly man who controls a large number of puppets with an elaborate system of strings. He can manipulate them to look like real people, and uses them to do horrible things to people close to Vash. His real name is Emilio, having known Vash during his childhood. His love interest dies sometime after, and he goes into puppet making to mend his broken spirit. He cares for her body for a number of years, and after it is found, he goes berserk and jumps after it. The anime does not feature his background, and he is simply a puppet-controlling assassin. He is killed by Wolfwood after killing Brad with one of his puppets. Gray the Ninja Lives. Gray the Ninja Lives is a very large man known for being indestructible. The manga version shows that he is actually formed from 9 dwarfs controlling a mechanical suit from the inside, allowing them to keep fighting until all 9 are dead. The suit is destroyed, and only 2 survive. They are captured, and turn over their coin, and later escape. The anime version is a cyborg whose only remaining human part is his brain, which is deeply encased in armor. Wolfwood kills him after the top half armor is melted off enough to see the brain. However, the bottom half remains active and ends up destroying one of the energy cores. Hopper the Gauntlet. Hopper the Gauntlet is a man who wears a set of armor to cover his degenerated and vestigial legs, while using his large arms to move. The armor acts like a top and he uses a shield to propel himself at high speeds. He seeks to kill Vash to avenge a mute and blind woman detached from the world, killed during the destruction of July. During his final battle, he sees Vash's memory of July, has a revelation that he has made the wrong choice, and he is killed after turning against the guns. The anime does not feature his backstory, and instead has him just wish to make Vash suffer. He is killed by the explosion of the energy core, after jumping onto it. Zazie the Beast. Zazie the Beast is a collective of group-minded insects able to take over the bodies of humans. These insects are the original inhabitants of the planet No Man's Land, who form an alliance with Knives to see whether humans or plants are better to coexist with them. They originally take over the body of a young boy, but it is destroyed by Hoppard, after spying on him. Zazie later reappears in the body of a teenage girl, though it is also destroyed by Legato, after trying to infect Knives. The last body is an odd-looking man in disco clothing used to deliver his coin to Vash. The main hive is destroyed by Knives soon afterward. The anime features Zazie as a demon who has possessed the body of Beat, a troubled young boy capable of controlling sandworms with a high-frequency device he wears on his head. He is killed by Wolfwood. This causes Vash and Wolfwood to express the conflict between their morals. In the manga, the same is triggered by Wolfwood killing Rady. Midvalley the Horn Freak. Midvalley the Horn Freak is a violent musician who is able to use his tenor saxophone to generate destructive sound. He is also capable of neutralizing sounds completely by playing counter frequencies. He and his band originally just killed for money until being found by Knives, who killed all, except Midvalley after they refused Knives' offer to join him. Terrified and resentful of Knives and Legato, Midvalley attempts to betray and desert the guns, but once discovered by Legato, he is quickly killed himself. Legato uses Midvalley's body to attack Hoppard, and it is buried with his saxophone on his gravestone afterward. In the anime, Midvalley plays Sylvia, a hybrid between an alto and tenor saxophone, mainly acting as Legato's bodyguard, before being the last gun to fight Vash. In their battle, Midvalley reveals his ability to synchronize sound waves with pain receptors in the body. Vash scratches his saxophone with a ricochet, preventing him from playing a note, la in Japanese, bb in English. Defeated, Midvalley commits suicide by overloading the now jammed machine guns in his damaged saxophone to the point of exploding. Kane the Longshot. Kane the Longshot is a member of the GungHo Guns invented for the anime in place of Elendira the Crimson Ale. He is a mute talented sniper who can cloak his body, and utilizes a rifle with a barrel many meters long, and has a very large scope, allowing him to snipe from many miles away. Kane has the ability to wait on his target for days, going without food or water at times until his target is hit. He is defeated by Vash, which leads him to commit suicide to avoid having to deal with Knives. Elendira the Crimson Ale. Elendira the Crimson Ale, referred to as the Lost 13th GungHo Gun in the manga, is the most powerful of the group. She is a transsexual woman, and normally wears feminine clothing, and a pillboxed hat. She shoots giant nails from a large briefcase that transforms into a crossbow with great proficiency, being capable of launching several in less than a second. However, underneath her outer garments she also wears restraining armor, and after disabling it, she is able to move at blinding speed. Elendira also has the power to project the image of the death of her opponents by touch, crippling them with the realistic illusion. She is jealous of Legato, as Legato is not part of the guns, suggesting that Legato is more important to Knives than her. Elendira was apparently one of Knives' very first companions, seen walking with him as a child along with Legato. She fights Livio twice, the first time skewering his torso with many nails, after launching him through several buildings. Their subsequent rematch results in a similar outcome, despite Livio and Razlo's combined efforts to match her speed. However, Elendira is ultimately killed when Livio grabs her and uses one of the nails going through his torso to run Elendira through. Chapel the Evergreen. Merely known as Chapel in the manga, he is a member of the Eye of Michael, an organization of ecclesiastical assassins founded by a church that worships plants. They provide Knives with mercenaries, with 3 slots of the GungHo Guns reserved for the Eye of Michael's best. Chapel, also known as Master C, is the mentor of Wolfwood, teaching him all the skills in being an assassin. He is subsequently shot and left as a paraplegic by Wolfwood, who impersonates Chapel. He is only middle-aged, but, like the rest of the members of the Eye, the artificial modifications on his body which grants him enhanced strength and reflexes, and limited regenerative abilities have aged him considerably. He is wheelchair-bound after Wolfwood shot him, and wields a large cross-shaped machine gun similar to Wolfwood's Punisher with 4 spiked ends at the base of the cross. Wolfwood kills Chapel with an immense headbutt, cracking his skull and breaking his neck. The anime features Chapel the Evergreen as Wolfwood's direct mentor. He carries the parent version of Wolfwood's cross-Punisher, though Chapel splits into twin machine guns. He cares for Nicholas after Nicholas kills his abusive guardian. He dresses in a dark green suit, and has red goggles grafted to his face. He is killed by Knives after an unsuccessful attempt to kill Legato for taking control of him and forcing him to kill Wolfwood. Livio and Razlo. Livio the Double Fang is a childhood friend of Wolfwood and the final member of the GungHo Guns from the Eye of Michael. He wields the Double Fangs, two small cross-shaped machine guns strapped on his arms that fire from both ends. His body has been enhanced through increased metabolic rate, allowing him to recover from near-fatal wounds in a matter of seconds. He grows up in the same orphanage as Wolfwood, having the nickname Livio the Cribblebee. Razlo the Tree P, Unisher, of Death is a violent and psychotic split personality, treated as another member of the GungHo Guns. After repeated abuse by his father, Livio eventually developed the Razlo personality, with Razlo taking all the abuse, allowing the Livio persona to not know about it. Razlo only appears after Livio has suffered intense pain or violence, and often commits acts of violence, such as killing Livio's parents. He uses 3 Punishers, the same gun as Wolfwood owns, with the aid of a bionic arm, thus giving him the nickname the Tree P of Death, short for Tree Punisher of Death. He is aided by 3 servants who carry his Punishers, while Livio's persona is active. The two fight with Wolfwood and they are defeated, though Wolfwood dies, after sustaining immense injuries, while overdosing himself on the regeneration drug. In the aftermath of the fight, Livio comes to terms with Razlo's existence, stating that he is now strong enough to face life on his own without the questionable help of his psychotic personality, who resides in the back of his mind. Vash decides to forgive Livio afterward, and he becomes Vash's partner in an act of redemption, seeking to live as Wolfwood would have. Livio fights against Alendra. Unable to win himself, Livio allows Razlo to awake and help him kill the Crimson Ale, by utilizing Razlo's faster reflexes and better eyesight. Livio later lives together with the children in his old orphanage, and is shown paying his respects to Wolfwood's gravestone. Minor characters. William Conrad. William Conrad, referred to as the Doctor and Revenant Vasquez, is a member of the same crew as Rem during the Seeds project. He performs various experiments on a plant, named Tesla, causing her death, which he later regrets, and learns of the existence of Vash and Knives, though he keeps it a secret. He survives the crash, and takes on the alias Revenant Vasquez. He is later found by Knives, who forces him to serve him as a scientific advisor. Conrad, fascinated by Knives, and suffering lingering guilt over Tesla's gruesome fate, reluctantly agrees. He later reveals to Knives that he and Vash are slowly dying, which results in Conrad's death by an angered Knives. Jasmine. Appearing in the manga only, Jasmine was one of the children who lived at the orphanage with Wolfwood and Livio. During their time there, she almost died when she fell off a roof, but was saved by Livio. However, Livio was later believed to have killed a puppy that belongs to Jasmine. She is later seen after Livio's first battle against Alendra. Because he had protected her children during the battle, she gives him her black coat, which along with a hat received from one of the kids, becomes his main apparel. Konica and Domina. Appearing in the manga only, Konica and Domina are 2 female independent plants that are part of the Earth forces that first attempt to stop Knives after he has abducted and merged with all of the plants he has collected from planet No Man's Land. Just like Vash and Knives, Konica and Domina appear and act like normal humans despite the fact that they are plant independents. Unlike Vash and Knives, biological science has advanced far enough back on Earth so that they have neuron inhibitors, preventing their hair from turning black and draining their energy. Domina's conscience is taken over by Knives, causing her to lose control of her form and resulting in her permanent quarantine. Konica, wanting revenge on Knives, nearly succeeds in shooting both him and Vash out of the sky as they make their escape at the end of the manga, only to be stopped by Livio just in time. Tesla. The first independent plant born during the Seeds project, Tesla was discovered by the crew of the ship that would later be home to Vash and Knives. Like Vash and Knives, she grew quickly over the course of the year. Having never encountered an independent plant before, the crew of Seeds performed various experiments on Tesla that ultimately led to her death. Some time later, after the rest of the crew had been returned to cold sleep, Rem found the newborns Vash and Knives in exactly the same way as Tesla had been discovered, lying in their birth liquids inside of the plant sphere. Vash and Knives grow just as rapidly as Tesla, and when they are only 1 year old, with the appearance of early adolescence, they discover the data and preserved remains of Tesla, traumatizing the twins. Knives severely mourns the girl and shuts down into a catatonic state. Vash tries to starve himself to death, and when that fails, attempts to stab himself in the throat in order to commit suicide, accusing Rem of keeping them alive in order to continue the experiments on the two of them. Rem stops him and reassures him that she wouldn't let the crew harm them, and Knives reawakens to reveal that he has repressed all memory of what happened to Tesla. Wanting them to know the truth, Rem retells them Tesla's entire story, and Knives, unable to cope, begins to lose his grip on reality. Kuroniko-sama. Kuroniko-sama, lit. Lady Black Cat, is a black cat who occurs in the background of the anime manga. She appears in every episode of the anime, and randomly in the manga. Naito has stated that she is just something easy and calming to draw in between action scenes. His most common response to queries as to her nature or significance at anime convention panels is Kuroniko-sama is a small black cat. In Trigun Maximum, Kuroniko-sama only appears in Naito's commentary at the end of each issue, often criticizing the author's lazy and silly nature, often criticizing the author's